Hello everyone. It's James again. And today I want to talk about something I've observed all week long at work. And while out and about. Well, it's something I see all the time for the most part. But on Monday I witnessed a lot of what I'm about ready to talk about. And then after Monday, I was thinking about this commonality that I was witnessing. And that's men that are happily in bondage and are controlled by their girlfriends or wives. And why this is a problem for healthy relationships. Now, as many of you may remember, I've mentioned before how women are told to treat men in our society is an exact copy of the narcissistic abuse many of us suffered growing up by our parents or parent. Or no matter if you were a man or woman and grew up and dated or got married to a narcissist. But here's the only difference. This narcissistic abuse is packaged up and exported to impressionable young women as the normal way they are to behave and treat men. And this is the reason why so many men have the same stories. Now I must mention, I do completely understand women can and do find themselves on the working end of male narcissists, where they are utterly victimized. And I and everyone I believe with a heart in their chest and a brain in their head can tell you this kind of treatment is wrong and evil. But again, the main difference between what happens to a man and what happens to a woman is when a man is abused at the hands of a woman, it's not seen as abuse. When a man is controlled by his wife or girlfriend, it's seen as that's just how things are. But when a man controls a woman, it's the how dare he mindset. Well, all this week, I've witnessed man after man talk openly and happily how they are controlled by their women, and how their women can literally do whatever they want. And upon hearing this, it's very telling as to why our society is going down the tubes. So what happened? Well, a co-worker came into work on Monday with a new shirt that looked quite nice. And a few of us said, "Hey, nice shirt. Looking very sharp." And his reply was, "Thank you. My wife allowed me to purchase it the other day." To which one man's reply was, "Does she have to ask you before she makes a purchase?" And his answer was, "Of course not, man." With a smile on his face. I have to keep my wife happy. I don't want to come home to a problem. He then proceeded to talk about how married life is so great. But also in the same breath talked about how he had to ask his wife to do the littlest things. But the biggest things his wife can do without asking or consulting him at all. Another man chimed in and confirmed happily he is in the same boat and it's the only way to keep his wife happy. And explained again the importance of marriage. As he talked about how he's controlled and his wife has free rein to do whatever she wants. I just sat there and listened quietly. Then later that day, I had to talk with someone in a different department. I politely asked him how his day was going. To which he proceeded to say, all is well as long as he's able to keep his wife happy. As he said, you know how that is, right? I just quickly changed the subject. Then the few times I needed to go to the grocery store, I watched and observed the men and women in the store shopping and in line. And I think this is something everyone should do from time to time. I just observed these people as if I was far away, or a fly on the wall. And I witnessed mainly bossy women and submissive and controlled men. Most of the men I witnessed didn't appear to have one shred of masculinity or aura of strength and character about them. The woman always stepped in front of the man and took charge of the purchase. And the man more times than not just stood there unless he was handing over his money. If there were children present, no matter the age of the parents, no matter if they were well dressed or not, the children were usually out of control. Now it's important to note, I know not everyone is like this. But from where I'm seeing things, it appears to be very, very common. Too common, in fact. So common it's a problem. And it's one of the main reasons why relationships are failing. I just made a video talking about how we are living in a corporation. And if you haven't viewed it, I suggest you check it out. I will put a link for it in the description box below. But the fact is all you've been taught on how to have relationships is given to you by this corporation we live in. A corporation that is downsizing and cutting its workforce. So it stands to reason they are going to give you things to learn and use in your everyday life that won't serve you best. And eventually will cause the breakdown of society. The breakdown of society this corporation wants. Now when you see and observe these broken men talking about how their wife controls every aspect of their lives. But their wife can do whatever she wants. You have to ask yourself. Why would a free man want to enslave themselves in such a relationship? Because you are a good catch. Here's the thing. He doesn't know that. And the problem is evil and good has been mishmashed together for so long. It has become dangerously hard for men in such a situation to figure out who is who. Yes. Sure there are tell signs. But sadly good people as I've talked about before can and will do bad things. And when our culture says women rule the relationships, it puts even good women in a situation where they might take advantage of such power. There's the old saying. Absolute power corrupts. And it does. Power can go to anyone's head. Both male and female. And when a good portion of women in our society gets a man to sign a marriage license, they fully and completely understand the power they have over the man. They understand divorce and taking the child is constantly held over the average man's head like an axe. So what does the man do? He conforms to society's rules. Happy wife is happy life. Even if his wife is completely wrong about a certain topic. There are many of men that will do things that are against their better judgment because they don't want to lose their wife. Think about Adam and Eve. Adam knew the information that Eve got from the devil was wrong. But he went along with it anyways. Why? Why would he do such a thing? Well, it's very much the same in my opinion as to how the men behave today. Men today will do whatever their woman wants no matter it be right or wrong. So they will avoid an argument and are hoping to avoid divorce. Even if they know what they are being asked to do is wrong. I want you to wrap your minds around that, good men and women. Think about that for a moment. Isn't this the walking around on eggshells we talk about here in the narcissistic abuse community? It's the same exact thing. Sadly, good men and women. Women in our culture are taught to seek out and have narcissistically abusive relationships. It's undeniable. It's in all the books. It's in all the magazines. And it's in all the television shows. And I know. You might not be doing it. But there are hundreds of millions that are. And that's why society is crumbling. So how are things fixed? Well, it's something I've talked about before and will continue to talk about. Change the laws to being fair. Start getting it out in the mainstream this way of having a relationship is indeed abusive and wrong. And that men do have rights. And that no man should stand for that. Just like we tell our young girls to not tolerate poor treatment from a man. We need to teach our young boys the same message. Not that it's normal. That being said, I want to ask you a serious question. Why hasn't things changed? Why are they the way they are? It's because those that benefit on the free pass don't want this free pass revoked. And those that get paid off of the system don't want it to change. The lawyers, the judges and so on and so forth. And those that own the big corporations we work for in this corporation we live in. They love disposable workers. And the best ones are those that grew up in broken homes. And when relationships break up due to, in my opinion, what equals up to being excuses and a big pile of horse crap. I changed my mind. I'm with someone else now nonsense. The children become a mess. It amazes me when I hear so-called mothers say, "Oh well, my child isn't affected by his father not being around. I'm both his mother and father." And blah 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 blah. And I think to myself, oh yes, they are affected. You just aren't seeing it yet. Don't worry, it's coming. You see children that grow up with love and both parents. They have all the chances at their fingertips to be whatever they want to become. But when they are in a fractured home, they are too busy dealing with the trauma and pain of all that has gone on in their young lives that they simply can't make sense out of. And the men that go along with this, I'm sorry to say, they are part of the problem. They are what some call simps, and others call Ahab from the Bible. Or another fitting term would be enabler. They want a woman's love so bad. They will do everything she wants even if it's wrong just to get the crumbs of what he thinks is love. And there are so many men that are willing to do this. These women have no problem pushing good men aside because they always have a supply of these Ahabs that will attempt to fix all of their problems. Problems these women created for themselves and their children. Now, why is this important to you? Well, for my female viewers, if things keep on going the way they are going, finding a man, a good strong man, that truly loves himself and loves God, he will have a hard time trusting and wanting to engage in such a relationship that society says is normal. And that means you will miss out on a lot of good men. And a lot of good men will miss out on good women. But it's designed that way. Remember, the corporation we live in is reducing its headcount. And the best way to do this is get people to self-destruct. And produce less children. Less children from good, happy, and well-adjusted families. I'm telling you, if you want this to change, you're gonna have to speak up. There's no other way. You either let things happen or you speak up for what is right. Well, that's all I have for now. Let me know what you've observed out there. I'm curious to hear your comments. Also, what are you doing to get the word out? We need all the help we can get to fix this problem in our society. With that being said, let's keep praying for wisdom. Let's keep praying for strength. And let's keep praying for courage. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.